I
Yeah,
do.
yeah. Yeah, I can also hear you. So I start I started the recording also.
Okay, great. Let me share my screen then. I think so. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we do see. I can see. Yeah.
Okay, great. So
Not for me. Does everyone see? I can't see.
No, no.
Yeah.
I was loading and it just stopped.
Yeah, he just started like he just started the presentation, so you can share a page.
But it's still, I see only his, it says presentation, but his screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
I can send.
No, I mean, just share it again. Share the screen again, or
But I want to know.
okay. Now I can see. Yeah,
Okay,
great.
great. So actually, I will give you a short brief about how we apply the bioanalysis at Adobe, and later on maybe we may add some,
Yeah.
because the data which is given for you
Yeah,
is
but I think your presentation is kind of loading and it's not coming. So maybe Ja, can you open it? Do you have access to open it? I don't have access.
Yeah. Let me see if I.
Okay,
Okay, it's okay now.
it is okay, but
Okay.
when you go to the presentation and present it, I will go. Now we can
Okay.
see the screen better, but now present it.
Is that okay now?
That is okay. That we can see. Maybe just use that one. Maybe don't use
Yeah.
the presentation mode.
Yeah, I can continue this way. So I will give you a video experience how we are using the brand impact optimization in our company. So the idea is initially in Adobe, number of teams are working. We have campaign management team and we have the data team. So the campaign management team are responsible to create the campaign, the creative, the ad related issue. Then our responsibility is analyzing. We focus on the key performance indicator of Arduino and analyze the user perspective, how I mean, using several metrics which are defined by the company, we try to analyze the log data which is collected through our tracking engine based on the advertisement which is distributed for a selected audience. So I think this point. Make it more beautiful. Okay, great. So initially, a kind of lightweight questionnaire, which is it looks like an ad, but which focus on asking the objective which is defined by the company. Let's say if it is brand awareness, list of questions which are related to brand awareness will be created by the campaign management team, and that this will be distributed for the target audience. Then our log tracking system collects user events. So the questions are usually yes/no questions. If we aim to apply the significant test on that part, the questions are yes/no questions. But we have also some more multiple answer questions which are beyond simply analyzing the significant test, but we try to analyze the data in terms of the user characteristics. Then based on the log data, which is tracked by our system, we design hypothesis testing for the particular bio service to determine the recent advertising campaign that we are using has the significant lift or not. Currently, we are focused on these 5 questions, like the brand awareness, the purchase intention, the ad recall, the message association, the brand affinity. So using these all things are measured through the survey questions, which are distributed to the users based on the lightweight questionnaire, which is created by the campaign team. So then once this data is tracked, hello, can you hear me? Hello?
We do, continue.
Okay. So once this data is tracked, the DS team apply
But we cannot see the presentation anymore. Like, okay, it's okay now. Continue.
Okay. So the first step is we apply the data analysis. So this data analysis is a part. In this process, we first visualize the our data in terms of several perspectives. In different perspectives, we try to visualize the data to understand some important insights from the data, which is the log file that we track through the questionnaire distributors. Then we segment this data in different dimensions. If we consider the sex, age, location, interest, which is the objective that the campaign management team and the data team together defined to get the important information behind the campaign that we are advertising. Then we analyze the response rate in terms of the target audience. So here, when I talk about response rate, since the question is yes, no, we have the engagement data, which is the sum of users who responded for yes and who responded for no for the particular impression. An impression is so if we look at the single ad, when the ad is displayed on the site, so in terms of user, we call that process an impression. Then when the user click on one of the button, let's say if the user click on the yes button, so we are getting now an engagement in terms of bio. But engagement in digital advertising terminology is different from bio. But when we talk about bio, it's all about user survey response data. So engagement is the user response for either of the two response, which is no or yes. Then under this data analysis stage, once we analyzed the segmented data with different perspective, we create a report through visualization and the presentation, which will be that the campaign team used to present for the client too. Another thing that we apply through the data that we collected is the significant testing part, which is important thing that particularly you are also expected to perform in this challenge, in this week challenge. So given the log data, which is accumulated based on the user event, as I say, the user event can be an impression, it can be the engagement that is yes or no answer. So we first transform the log data into the model-ready format. So when I talk about model-ready format, if our focus is applying classic A/B testing, so we need to aggregate the data the entire data together until our maximum allocated. Then, I mean, we aggregate the entire data together for the impression, for the engagement, and for the yes and no response. Actually, engagement is, in this case, the sum of yes and no response. If it is the machine learning based model, we use additional features like it can be operating system, it can be the user perspective, can be interest, can be sex, can be location. So, but the aim is different in this case that when we simply apply the classic A/B testing. And if it is sequential data, if the model is sequential testing, so the data will be a kind of time series data. So currently we are applying hourly based processing. We will discuss in detail in tomorrow's catch up about how we apply the sequential data and how you will use the starter sequential testing notebook. So as the name indicates, sequential, when we talk about sequential, it always takes the single observation once and apply the test. Then if it satisfies the test rule, it will stop the testing. If it's not satisfied, that means we need some more data, and the testing will be continue in that case. Then using the transform data, we apply the significant test. As I said, the test can be one-sided or two-sided. So usually we are using one-sided data testing. When I say about one-sided testing, our aim is whether the new campaign that we are using as exposed group is better than the control group or the dummy campaign or not. That's the aim of one-sided test. But if it's two-sided, we check for either of the two, for both control and exposed group. That's the two-sided A/B testing. But we are not currently focused in that part because our organizational objective usually we use the one-sided A/B testing part. Then after applying the algorithm, we get the final decision. The decision may be it may be the continued decision, that is we may not come up with decision point with the existing data or need more data, or we may have the decision that we reject the null hypothesis or we accept the alternate hypothesis. Based on that decision, we create a plot, model output that can be lift, confidence, decision text, and similar output will be printed from the model. And we also include the technical recommendation for the CM team. Then this final result will be presented to the campaign management team. And if they approve that process, we start running the model. Currently, our model is running hourly. So when the model is when the final output is running, means the result is visible to the client. So not only for the campaign management team, the client can also visualize through our staging dashboard, which is accessible for the client too. So this is how we apply the significance testing in our bio data. I'm just focusing on the one simple activity, which is bio testing in our company, but we apply A/B testing.
Thank you so much, Abebaw. That's really nice and sweet and kind of short. I think this will be relevant as people are kind of going to work and understand the data later. So this is more of gives you a context for what you're going to do this week. Basically, it's kind of as if you're joining that team. The team that Abebaw is, for example, there's one team, one particular data science team is involved in many projects, but this is one aspect of what they are doing. So, okay, if you have anything to continue, I will continue. But I just want to give that summary.
I just wanted to say some points about data that they are using. I think if you mention that part, I can skip and I can take questions regarding bio and reply in that regard. But the next thing is simply about the data that, since the data which we provide to them is the bio data, so if they review that part, I'm happy. So I think the link is given for them. The data has around 8,077 entries with 9 features. It looks like this. So here you have, other than the yes and the no response, you have some more information provided. Considering you will also apply the ML part than simple BIOS testing. But here, yes and the no means in bio concept, we are talking about engagement. Impression is beyond this part. So we may have more engagement, more impression, but less engagement, because engagement term starts after the user clicked the button, any of the two buttons, yes or no button in the lightweight questionnaire distributed for the users. So just to say about data features, few things about data features. The origin ID, actually you get a detailed description of these data features from the challenge doc, which is shared with you. So, I will skip this part because you can also easily understand this part.
I think it's good just to review it. It's just good to go it fast on it, but it's good to just review just for the sake of completeness.
Okay, so the first feature is the auction ID, which is the categorical feature, which uniquely identify the online users. So the standard terminology can be, instead of using auction ID, we can use the impression ID. So we are talking about the particular user who is looking for the ad which is posted in the page. So we associated to this impression, there may be several logs which are tracked. So the information, the next information is totally associated to this auction ID. So auction ID is unique throughout the entry here. The experiment is it helps you to identify the control and the exposed group. The control is the base one, which is actually the dummy campaign created, but the exposed group is the one which you are expected to optimize. So we are applying one-sided A/B test with the aim of having the change in the exposed part, but the control is the base one. So you have the data in the hour column and also given there. Both of them are, hour is integer, date is the categorical
so
one.
if I jump in here, just to make it very clear. I think I hear myself. Can you mute just for a while, Abebaw, and then I'll.
Exactly.
Okay, so the experiment, when we say control, what we are here, unlike website, whatever, what we are saying is that there are users who has seen the advertisement, and then there are users who hasn't seen the advertisement, or that means who has seen some other dummy advertisement. Now we are going and retargeting them with this bio. So whenever we say exposed group, means the group that has actually seen the advertisement which contains the brand that we are interested in to measure. So it's kind of, so you have to just take into that account. So it's not about like those who just see this advertisement, which is the bio, but like another advertisement which ran before, and the users are selected based on retargeting, it's called. Okay, just continue. That's just one.
Okay, thanks, Yapi. The rest part is simply added for the contextual information related to the user when the information.
We are not seeing your slide. Just to be.
Okay. Is that not?
Yeah. Now it's
So the device make platform, the OS and browser are just additional informations which are associated to the impression. That means the device that the user was using, the platform the user has, the operating system, and the browser, where the questionnaire or the questionnaire ad which is popped in the user was using at the time of seeing the questionnaire. The yes and the no are these two are the important features that you will use for all of your tests later. So yes means you are getting the success. So if your question is asking about, let's say, the brand, whether the user have seen the ad in the past 2 weeks or not, yes means you are getting I mean the potential customer who remember your ads. No means, so you have to think for, in business perspective, you have to think for more. No means we have to think for the additional creative object. But in this case, yes and no is simply you can think like the response. Yes means the user clicked the yes button. No means the user clicked the no button. And the sum is the engagement in this case. So this is about the data features, which is in your the data which is you will use for your challenge. Maybe Yabi, you can add some more point in this regard.
No, I think that's fine. If you are done, I think that's good. I think that's exactly what I want just to go through, such that they focus more on the concept more than on the data and stuff. Just like you understand the data. Now it's about like going through the design, the challenge, the statistical element. You focus this week a lot more on that and translating the equations that you see. For that, it's very simple, but it's a kind of necessary sometimes to implement your own classical algorithm, but it's already implemented in Python in multiple ways in some of even the reference I gave. But just try to understand what each element of that thing is, because this is one thing you'll use over and over in your lifetime, like in terms of in your data science life cycle. So yeah, great. So yeah.
I will come back with sequential testing part tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's more clear to how to apply with your current situation. I mean your existing data, how to apply the sequential testing. We will talk in detail tomorrow, and the starter notebook too. So thanks, guys.
I think thanks, Abebaw, and really, and if you have any question, again, just post it in Slack, and we get to. So the one thing I still gonna repeat again is that A/B testing in the general framework is very simple to understand, but it's hard to master. So, but then it's important because you have to know why you are doing. That's exactly where the real element of the real value is. That why are you applying A/B testing, and what are you expecting from it? And it's almost always it's like that people don't understand. Not the A/B testing part itself. That's easy to understand, but the very details where like why are you like does your result make sense? Are you really, do you know what you are talking about? Like that's where like the detail matters. And everything about statistics is that, like, and everything about is like making sure statistically to draw a statistically valid interpretation. And that depends on understanding A/B testing in a very carefully, like, because you always have two things in your head, whether something, for example, whether there is the disease or not, whether this or that. So that's what's like, always you end up like to make a statement, and that statement usually is that, is it significant or not? And then how do you know it's significant or not? Because of that central part, understanding this nicely and having a clear picture help you everywhere in interpreting things, and knowing the details, the kind of the problems associated to, like, why do you design? Why do you need to sample a certain way? Why is the sample clear? Is the sample representative? All this, that what we hate about statistics is here. And I know, I wish I don't have to do A/B testing most of the time, but because it's easy and it's easier to just like make a statement, a false thing. But that's where your chance this week to try to really have the whole week trying to think about this and try to understand, increase your knowledge on that aspect. And Ja and some of them are also Mustafa. They are from statistics background, like, and you have some people also probably from statistics background who probably have a much better knowledge in some of these details. So the discussion in Slack will enrich and kind of your knowledge. So use that. With that, I will just stop, and then yeah, the next tutorial is in 20 minutes, right? So that will be by Usman.
Yes, yes. And yeah, I think this Usman is here, and thanks Abebaw and thanks Yabi also for this helpful tutorial. I think that they will continue with question on Slack. So Usman is here. We'll just stop the recording of this one, and I'm doing it right now. And